James Trafford. From saving a last-minute penalty to win England the U19 World Cup to being a key piece in Bolton's success last season, this is the rise of James Trafford. Trafford was born on October 10, 2002 in Carlisle, England. Funnily enough, Trafford actually didn't start off as a keeper. During his youth days at Carlisle United, he was playing in midfield. That was until one day when the team were short between the sticks, and so up went the 9-year-old's hand as a favor for that one match. And he's never looked back since. Fast forward a couple of years and James moves from Carlisle United to Man City in search for a higher level of competition. When asked about the transfer, his dad James said, "With a name like Trafford, I always said jokingly that one team he could go to was Man United. But when it came to choose City, they were fantastic. Despite being one of the biggest clubs in the world, it's like a family there. They have made James and the family feel extremely welcome, and it's an opportunity that doesn't come along very often." And so James Trafford's rise began, where he would spend the next 5 years grinding through Man City's academy. And boy was this kid good. In 10 games for the U18s, he kept 6 clean sheets, helping them win the English Youth League Winners' Cup, and had 6 in 13 for the U21s, also helping them win the Premier League too. Basically, Trafford was excellent, amazing with the ball in his feet, and an even better shot stopper. He was everything you could ask for in a modern day keeper. And so with these impressive performances, he caught the attention of the England youth teams, who noticed just how much potential he had. And at this point in career, things were only getting better and better for Trafford. This brings us to the 21-22 season, where Trafford had agreed to go on Accrington Stanley on loan. Accrington were a League One side at the time, and in the season prior to Trafford joining, they conceded a monstrous 68 goals, which was the 15th worst in the league. And to say this team was bad would be a huge understatement. Trafford only ended up playing 11 times for Accrington, keeping 3 clean sheets, before leaving in the January transfer window and joining also League One side Bolton. But this is where we saw the true potential of James Trafford. Compared to Accrington, Bolton played a much more attacking style of football. This made it much easier for Trafford to blend in. He kept 4 clean sheets in his first 4 games, the first time a goalkeeper had done so in Bolton's entire history. After starting all of the remaining 22 league games for Bolton, he ended the season with 6 clean sheets and, funnily enough, 1 assist. I'm telling you guys, this kid is a midfielder at heart. In the beginning of the season, Bolton had just 7 wins out of a possible 24. And after Trafford joined, they won a total of 14 games out of 22. When the season ended, Trafford was asked if he would like to come back for one more season. This is what he said.
Yeah, well, it's the right place. I loved every minute from it from January onwards, and I have such a good relationship with the staff and everyone. Once I got the internationals out of the way, there was no brainer to come back. So yeah, loving it, excited.
So bringing us to the previous season, 22-23. where Trafford would have his last dance with Bolton. And by October, he was noted by the fans as the best young keeper in the whole League One, even breaking Bolton's record for consecutive home clean sheets of 8 in a row. He was able to extend that record to 9, but just came short of double figures as he conceded against Portsville in a 2-1 win, the first time he had conceded a goal since the 2nd of December, leading us to the first big challenge in his career. Bolton had the chance of winning a trophy against League One rivals Plymouth in the Football League Cup. Keep in mind the last trophy they won was in 1958, so he had the chance to make history. And boy did Trafford rise to the occasion, helping the team win the game, keeping a clean sheet in a 4-0 win. His next clean sheet will be against Shrewsbury Town on the 22nd of April, which was his 25th of the season, breaking the record for the most clean sheets by a Bolton keeper in a season. And just a couple weeks later, he finished the season with a total of 26 clean sheets, helping Bolton qualify for the playoffs, but they were unfortunately defeated by Barnsley in the semi-finals. Despite that, he was voted as Bolton's Young Player of the Season. Speaking on his time at Bolton, he said, "I went from a long skinny boy to a long skinny man." Wise words from the former sheep boy. And despite his success at Bolton, Trafford was still pretty unknown in the footballing world. But he would get his big breakthrough in the U21 Euros, starting the campaign off with a 2-0 win over Czech Republic, having 2 key saves in the game. Moving on to Israel, where it was a pretty straightforward game. Trafford only had to deal with 1 shot on target. And finally, the last group stage game against Germany, who were actually the previous tournament winners. And this was Trafford's best game by far, with 6 saves and keeping England in the game at times, leading us to the quarterfinals against Portugal, where he had 2 saves, but overall it was a pretty comfortable win. The same could be said about the semi-finals against Israel again, where he had 1 save all game. You could have put me in goal and we still would have won that game. And this leads us to the final game of the tournament, the one that would introduce him to the world. It was a U21 Euro final against Spain. Even at this stage, Trafford had already made history, becoming the first goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet in 5 consecutive games. But the most important thing for him was the trophy. And so he played like there was no tomorrow, with 5 key saves as England were minutes away from winning the whole thing. The unthinkable happened. A penalty. This was a moment of Trafford's life, where everything he worked so hard for was up for grabs. All he had to do was extend his big long hands out and grab it. And to win glory for his country, he did the impossible, saving the penalty, single-handedly winning England the U21 Euros. This is what England U21 manager Lee Carsley said after the game. Wherever he goes and wherever he plays, he's got a really top mentality. He's been outstanding throughout the tournament. Not conceding a goal is a great achievement. He's been a really important part of us playing out from the back and playing through. This brings us here, where newly promoted side Burnley have agreed a $15 million deal for James Trafford, which could potentially rise to $19 million with add-ons. And honestly, I'm really surprised that no other club went in for him. With United, Chelsea, and Spurs all needing a keeper, James would have fit perfectly into those teams. Despite that, his critics have said this is an overpay for a player whose highest level has been League One. Maybe that was a doubt in the minds of the giants of the Premier League. Even realistically speaking, I doubt that Man City would sell one of their best young players to a direct rival. But with the way his career is moving right now, I would not be surprised at all if in 2 to 3 years he gets a big move to a top 6 team. Or maybe even if Burnley goes down next season. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a thumbs up and let me know which player you want to see next. Take care and peace.